Hi, everybody. We're going to start the Sherman Oaks Homeowners Association meeting. So take your seats and we'll start in just about a minute.
Touch that, right? Can you see us remote? Yes, perfectly.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Bob Anderson, and this is Maria Calvin. Matt Epstein's away tonight, so we're going to be your co-hosts with Maria doing most of it because I'm still sneezing from something I caught.
You can't hear? Don't look at me. He's the one talking.
People are saying it's a little hard to hear. That's better.
Well, people can.
Okay, good evening. We're going to start the meeting. Thank you very much for attending. And I really, appreciate everybody who came. John, could you have a seat, please? Thanks. We want to do a thank you to Baca Restaurant, who provided a really great dinner tonight. They're right across the street from the senior center, right over across this street right here, which I can't remember the name of, and on Van Nuys Boulevard. And it's a really nice Mexican restaurant. And being across the street is really convenient for everybody for this meeting. So thank them for doing it. So I'll hand it off to Maria.
So we're going to introduce all our board members, so all of you can come up. A lot of us are missing tonight. So I'm Maria Calvin. I'm co-vice president of the association, and I chair the legislative committee and the housing committee. And Bob?
I'm Bob Anderson, and I chair the transportation committee and fight with Metro a lot.
You want me to go next? I'm Tom Glegg, board member, planning and land use. Oh, well, they can hear me. I got a loud voice.
We'd like to see you right here.
Oh, I got it.
Move over
Yeah,
here.
but I'm monitoring.
So
Tom Glegg. Planning and land use.
Nancy?
This is how you do it, Tom.
You're good with the microphone.
Hi, everybody. Nancy Segoyan, board member and membership chair. If you're not a member, please join us. We could use your support. We're all membership supported. And also co-chair of the airport committee. So welcome, everyone.
Hello, everybody. Sean Kurzweil. I'm the new Director of Governmental Relations. Thank you. Hi, I'm Larry Slade. I chair the Homelessness Committee in the Sherman Oaks Homeowners Association.
Hi, I'm John Eisen. I'm the treasurer of the association.
And we have a few people away, as you noticed. But thank you all for coming. Could we start the
Let's go with the slows.
the elected officials? Jose and Mariana, could you come up? And the next one after that will be Diane Reyna.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Officer Saldana. I'm the senior lead officer for the southern portion of Sherman Oaks. And today, I just one of our major problems we have right now is just burning for motor vehicles. We're up 60 crimes from last year. 60 crimes of vehicles being broken into from year to date. So that's our number one problem. We don't have any major incidents for violent crime. However, we do have a couple of houses being broken into, but those are random. We don't have any suspect description on that. But for the most part, please keep your property and not visible in your vehicles.
Thank you, partner. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mariana Romo, and I'm the senior lead officer for the northern part of Sherman Oaks. So I cover the Galleria to the Sherman Oaks Park, to the Sherman Oaks Fashion Square Mall, and to some parts of Coldwater. basically North, Ventura Boulevard to the north. Because I do have the Galleria and the mall, as you guys have seen on the media, we had a flash mob robbery at Sherman Oak Mall and also Northridge at the Macy's. I'm happy to let you guys know that we had two arrests. It was two male individuals that was recruiting other members on social media to do these type of crimes. In the past, these type of crimes were considered grand theft, a property crime. If you are out there and you grab property and you leave, it's a property crime. So we have seen that these individuals are not being held in jail for a long time. So us, within the scope of our duties, we're trying to use the robbery crime, which is a violent crime, because they're either using force or fear. The reason why these two individuals were arrested for robbery was because we were able to get statements from witnesses that were at the location when it happened. And they were able to give statements to the officers that they were in fear. They saw a high number of individuals come and rush in. The customers had to run and hide due to their safety. So detectives were able to go to the DA's office and state they used fear. So we were able to use a robbery, the violent crime of robbery. These individuals were arrested and their bail was higher than $750,000, which is way better than a ticket or 6 hours in jail. So we advise you guys, if there is an incident like this, wherever you guys are, it can be at the Target, Costco, any place, and there is fear, and I don't want to put words into your mouth, but if there is fear, we ask you guys to please stand by so that officers can take your statement so that these individuals can get arrested for the violent crime. It's not fair that they're rushing into our malls and putting fear into us and to our children and family members. So that is up. And we do have a task force here in Van Nuys Division. It's a whole huge task force, Beverly Hills PD, Culver City PD, representatives from Burbank PD, the DA's office are there as well. So they're working on collaboration to assist with these type of crimes that are happening in our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Is there a question?
She's stating that if you have pepper spray and there's an incident like this that is happening, would she be liable for this? You have to remember, this is property that they're taking. They're not being violent against somebody. So I can't put words into your mouth, but if it's property, just be a good witness. I tell everyone to do the same. When we're off duty, we're good witnesses. We never get involved, and we try to give us information to the police that are on the way. So just be a good witness, see what you see, and when you call 911, please give all the information that you have. Do not place your safety over incidents like that. It is not worth it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Diane from Assembly Member Friedman's office.
Hi, good evening. Diane Rana, Field Rep for Assemblymember Friedman. This past week on September 14th, which was last Thursday, the legislature had their last day of the legislative cycle. The Assemblymember was able to pass AB 645 out of the legislature. It's now on its way to the governor's desk. AB 645 is her speed safety pilot program with 6 eligible cities, one of which is Los Angeles. So we hope that the governor will sign that bill. The governor does have until October 14th to sign or veto legislation. So if you want to contact the governor's office in support of this bill or any other legislation or in opposition, you have until October 14th to do so. I will note he could be signing a piece of legislation right now. So reach out to him as soon as possible. This past Saturday, the Assemblymember was in Shadow Hills for a community coffee. And then on Sunday, she was out in North Hollywood. for the Cicla Mini event. Later this week, she'll be meeting with Jeff and Maria Calbon to discuss transportation issues in the San Fernando Valley. Over the weekend, she will be attending Burbank Pride's second annual Family Pride in the Park at McCambridge Park. And the office will be boothing at Councilmember Nithya Raman's concerts in the park. So if you're out there, please come by and say hello. Last but not least, this month is National Preparedness Month. I've distributed some brochures with tips and reminders on how to make sure you're prepared in an emergency. And I'm happy to announce that next month, the Assembly member will be out here to speak with you personally. Thank you. Yes, at this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Lindsay Imber, President of Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council.
Hi, everyone. Lindsay Imber, President of Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council. I can repeat things. Good. Have to stand by Zoom. Okay, so our next month's meeting falls on a holiday, the second Monday. So we have yet to decide when we're actually going to have our board meeting in October. So make sure you check our website, shermanoaksnc.org, for the updated information. Until then, we will be discussing, I believe that we're going to discuss in the board meeting a housing related issue. And also there's a new city council file relative to party houses and cracking down on enforcement of that. So government affairs will take a look at that next Tuesday. Be sure to check our website for all the fun committee dates, and we'll see you there. Bye.
Hi, Ryan, you want to come up? Ryan Ahari from Councilmember Rahman's office. I want to thank him. He's been very instrumental. If you noticed, we were having trouble streaming this meeting on Zoom for several months. And it was because we had to use a phone as a hotspot. And it just wasn't working. So Ryan got together, worked with the city and the people here. They got us a temporary installation last week, and we're now connected to the real Wi-Fi system, which should have put out a really great picture for everybody. And I hope they enjoy it. So thank you very much for all your work, Ryan.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bob. Hi, my name is Ryan Ahari. I am the Sherman Oaks Van Nuys Senior Field Deputy for Councilmember Nithya Raman. You might have heard the word senior because the council member has promoted me to Senior Field Deputy after working for the Sherman Oaks community for 2.5 years. Nothing else changes. I'm still your field deputy. Please, nobody think I'm being reassigned, but I'm just working on additional responsibilities in our office. I wanted to say our office is very happy to see so many folks at our concerts in the park. You might see this flyer all over your table. If you don't have one, please let me know. But we are putting council dollars and staff time into getting some concerts in the park. We've seen concert series throughout Los Angeles, and we wanted to make sure that we brought them to CD4 in the Valley and Sherman Oaks. So this past weekend, we enjoyed some Elton John with a tribute band, and the additional dates, these are all tribute bands, but the additional dates will be Saturday, September 26th, Sunday, October 1st, and another Sunday, October 8th. So this is completely free at Van Nuys Sherman Oaks Park on the Houston side, so just to the west of Hazeltine, 5 to 7 p.m., completely free. Just bring a chair or some blankets. We have food as well. We have food trucks. So please come and enjoy the community fun. Our office is continuing to invest dollars into Van Nuys Sherman Oaks Park. It's one of our priorities right now in Sherman Oaks. You might have seen that there are now 2 hybrid pickleball tennis courts at the tennis courts. So that way you could either play tennis or pickleball, depending on which one you prefer. And our office is looking into from scratch pickleball court construction, just so that it can be dedicated to deal with the, to address the, Tammy's a fan, to handle the increased demand in pickleball players. We are looking for other ideas as well. If you guys have any ideas on what else we can do, a lot of folks have been contacting our office asking to bring a dog park, because you might have noticed how many dogs are off leash and people don't know if they're friendly or not. They're also kind of just running all over the place. Municipal code does require them to have leashes, but we're short on park rangers as well as park staff, so enforcement's not always a thing. So we're looking into doing a dog park, but if anybody else has any priorities, let us know so we can see into getting those funded. And then finally, if you have any community concerns, If you have uneven sidewalks that need asphalt through Bureau of Street Services so that you don't trip over those uneven sidewalks, or if you have overgrown trees with branches that are falling, please let me know so that our office can use our council office dollars on that tree trimming and work on expediting your sidewalks to get them nice and smooth. I do have some business cards. I'll be around. Let me know if you have any questions, and thank you all very much.
Cynthia? I'm not gonna introduce you, so you can do it.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cynthia Hernandez. I'm with the City Attorney's Office. I'm one of the representatives for the Valley area. We have a lot of changes in our office, as a lot of you know. I'm here just to be a liaison. Of course, anything news coming from our office, I'll give it to you as soon as I know and I'm aware of it. But for now, we're still in the process of transitioning into the new phase of what the City Attorney's Office criminal branch is going to look like. But of course, email me, talk to me. I'll be happy to be that representative for you. Thank you.
Jeremy?
Hi, I'm Tammy Sheriff from the Sherman Oaks Chamber of Commerce. I'm the chair of the board there. And how many of you have been to our street fair before? Most unanimous. Okay, if you haven't been there, you have to come. It's the event of the year in Sherman Oaks to talk about it. Talk to the town for the full year. They say we get 100,000 people. So it's closed from, our streets are closed from Van Nuys Boulevard all the way to Kester, which is 9 blocks. And then on both sides, we have booths. So there's a lot going on. We have a community stage where all the schools and local schools are performing all day. Then we have a main stage. We have a carnival area for the kids. We have different booths of different vendors and lots of food trucks and restaurant vendors, local restaurant vendors. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So hopefully we'll see you all there October 15th. Thanks. Oh, free to all to come. Thanks.
Thank you. Sean, do you have? Oh, you do not have. Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly update you on the housing element. Last month, I was telling you about housing element is the instrument that the city is going to use to rezone our neighborhoods. And I showed you quite a big presentation about where we thought we might be able to add more housing on our commercial corridors and try to save our single family neighborhoods. The council member has been supportive of us in the past, but in a recent meeting, she said that she will be for apartments in single family neighborhoods. So as a result of that, we're going to actually try to address her on this issue because it's not okay. And she says it's state law that makes us do that, and that is not correct because we have checked with state law on this. So we'll get back to you. Within the month, we will have an outreach. We will probably email blast everybody, and we want everybody to get involved and send your comments in because not enough people are speaking up on this issue. So that's it. I think with that, yes.
How would we engage a recall process?
We're not going to even go there. I know that you're angry, but I think we need to do everything we can do to get the whole city listening, and the mayor especially. I think we need to talk to the mayor as well. So we're moving forward. I hear you, but we're not going to go there at this point.
Remind him that the election is only.
Yeah, the election is what, yeah, in March, is it? Or we have an election coming up?
Yeah.
So, okay, so with that.
Your voice known at the ballot box.
Yeah. So with that, our evening was going to have the superintendent of schools, Alberto Carvalho. I don't know why I have a hard time saying that. And he was called away at the last minute on an important budget meeting. He was very apologetic. But with us tonight, we have the superintendent of the San Fernando Valley. He's the regional superintendent. He's been with LAUSD for a great many years. He has been chief of schools, administrator of instruction. He's been a principal, a teacher. He's very dedicated to our children like we are dedicated to our children. And he has a tremendous amount of knowledge and expertise. So this evening, if you will welcome Dr. Baca.
First, I just want to say hello.
And thank you for the invitation to Superintendent Carvalho. He does send his greetings and his regrets that he couldn't be here with us this evening. As was shared, my name is David Baca. I'm the Region North. We call the district right now is divided into 4 regions. Pretty easy: north, south, east, west. North is the entire San Fernando Valley. So I have the pleasure of being in charge of 252 schools of all levels, from early ed, elementary, middle school, high school, here in the San Fernando Valley. My office is pretty close by, over on Balboa and Victory and Lake Balboa. In addition to being an educator, I'm also a dad. I have a 2nd grader in one of our local schools in LA Unified. Thrilled to be here with you this evening. And my understanding is there have been some questions prepared. And so I'm going to answer questions that have been prepared and or questions you may have for me. Great. So before we dig into questions, I'll give a little bit of an overview. So first, what we have going on in LAUSD, as you know, we're very large. The strengths and needs are quite great. In general, we have developed, Superintendent Carvalho, as you may know, came to us from Miami. He came with a lot of experience and a real passion to transform our district. Our collective vision statement is as follows: LA Unified will be the premier public school district, the very best, by eliminating educational inequities to graduate all students ready for the world to thrive in college, career, and life. And I'll talk a little bit about the ready for the world. You'll see that on banners, you'll see it all over. The phrase actually came from a mom. We were doing listening sessions, on what direction the district should take, what folks wanted. And we asked parents, what do you want for your child? And a mom paused, responded, got a little emotional, as happens when you ask us about our kids, and said, I want my daughter to be ready for the world, is how she phrased it. And it just kind of stuck out. I think it was filled with such emotion, and we weren't expecting it, right? So that's where Ready for the World came from. With the strategic plan, you'll see a lot of different initiatives. Number 1, academic excellence is our first of 5 pillars. With that, we're doing everything we can to both recover from the pandemic and make sure all students are ready. Now, as you know, we serve students with a variety of different strengths and needs. So we have to figure out a whole bunch of different programs to make sure our students get what they need. One big kind of announcement I'll make is we have tutoring available, so students can get personalized help. We have that at our schools. We just launched on Monday, 2 days ago, home-based virtual tutoring. So students can log into a device, laptop that they get from the school. So if they don't have one at home, we can provide that laptop. We can provide internet, and then with parental supervision, get individualized tutoring at their house. So that's one of the things we're doing. Obviously, as you know, that's a significant expense and a big lift, and has been difficult to staff on our own. So we're able to take advantage of other folks who are able to support our students. Additionally, some signature initiatives from Superintendent Carvalho. One is our Cultural Arts Passport program, but really making sure our students are able to visit all that LA has to offer, from our local museums to you name it, right? Just having funds dedicated to that, having a point person at each school site to make sure our students, have a well-rounded educational experience. Pillar 2 is joy and wellness. So you're somewhat lucky I'm not PowerPointing you to death. Usually there's a PowerPoint behind me, so forgive all that details, but making sure each of our schools have safe and supportive environments. Pillar 3 is really around engagement. So engaging our families. We've launched a family academy. If anyone an LA Unified parent in the house? Okay, a few folks. That means you get a whole bunch of calls and text messages nonstop, inviting folks to a variety of different trainings. They really happen all the time, but it's to give our parents the latest information, latest tools, whatever may be needed to participate in their child's education. Next is operational effectiveness. There's a lot packed into that. One of the things is modernizing our facilities. So as you may know, modernizing school facilities is very expensive, very costly, but you'll see that happening all over the place. Dixie Canyon Elementary, a local school, North Hollywood High School, undergoing a massive renovation. One thing I'll share additionally is we're looking at new ways for heat mitigation. As you know, it's the valley, so it gets super hot and likely not going to start getting cooler. So with us starting school fairly early, we start in August, it's really hot. Well, as we know, it just started cooling off, right? So we need to have less blacktop, plant more trees, and just focus on greening efforts. That's something we're working on. Not easy to do, I can tell you, and again, very costly, but we're making some headway. We're also doing some other things that are lower hanging fruit. For example, there are now these misters. This was new to me, but we now have them in every elementary school here in the valley. It's essentially a barrel of water connected to a fan, and it blows a cool mist. It actually really works. So think of a mini cooling station. So our kiddos are out there, you can't stop them from playing, even when it's 99 degrees. They want to get out there and play if we let them. This is a way for them to cool down. That's something new that we've been able to bring to scale. Again, getting it in every elementary school is almost 200 schools. So that's some of the things we're doing. And lastly is investing in staff. As you know, staffing is a challenge, irregardless of whatever the sector or business is. But in LA Unified, we're finally in a good place with staffing, right? We do not have massive shortages in any key area. So we've been able to staff, as you may know, we've gone through negotiations with all of our unions, including our teachers union. So folks are beginning to get paid at a higher rate for doing the very tough work that is educating our students in this day and age. So that's a little bit of an overview. You know what, I might share one more thing. One more thing that's also fairly new. So oftentimes we get reports of things going on at our schools that are non-emergency events, right? So for anyone who wants to report a non-emergency event at a school or near a school, we have a new app. So like everything, there's an app for that. It's called LASAR, L-A-S-A-R. So if you search the Apple Store or the Android Store and type in LASAR and then LAUSD, you'll find an anonymous reporting app where you can report anything going on. You can upload a video, you can provide your name if you choose to, but that's not required. Oftentimes folks tell us they want to report something, but they don't want to give their name. This is a way to really solve that. That information is then fed to our local school police, our schools, administrators, etc., so we can investigate and respond accordingly. Want to share that, it's pretty new, and thought it may be helpful for this audience. With that, that's a quick overview of some things going on, and I'll now answer some questions.
Great. You can probably sit down.
All right.
Can you see us, Bob, okay? Okay. So it's interesting you should have brought up the passport program, because that is one question I had. And because I didn't know what it was, I looked it up to see that it was accessing the arts for all students, correct? So here is the question that's being asked. I applaud you for sending additional funds to the students at LAUSD through the passport program. I am the educational director of a dance company that has provided programming for schools since 1985. Can you please elaborate on how these additional dollars can be spent? I have received mixed messages about whether the dollars can be used during the school day or if it needs to be after school. If only after school, it seems that this involves the parents' cooperation and limits the ability for all students to participate. Also, please clarify if the money can be used for buses, because I gather you use buses to take kids to the museums and whatever. So.
Sure. So first, I think the variety of activities that would be covered with the Cultural Arts Passport Program would happen during the school day, right? So this is going to the Getty, for example. It does involve buses. It could be bringing somebody to the school, right? It could be used in that way as well. So there are a lot of options. So this sounds, pretty specific. So this person could reach out either to procurement, right? So if it's a vendor, right, someone who provides a service and that involves some fees, there may be, of course, some processes we need to take to make sure it's an approved vendor, paperwork, et cetera. But overall, cultural arts passport, first of all, supplements dollars that schools already have, but create something that's really intentional about making sure our students get out and see all that LA has to offer. So we see it as a good thing. We started at the very end of last year. So I know some folks at the end of last year were like, we're running out of time. But now it's something that'll be moving forward and is really positive. So each school will decide where they want to go. It just gives funds specifically for it, gives them a menu of activities. You know, a goal that I have is that we both explore hyper local stuff, but also get to go somewhere else. So I think the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, might be getting the name a little wrong, but you know what I'm talking about, that new museum, right? It's we took a group of students there and they were able to experience that. So for many of our families, that's a humongous deal. I was able to take my daughter. Not all families can take it, make it, and be able to be there. It was a huge hit. So yeah, the opportunities are endless, really.
That's great. Okay, so the next question is regarding structural deficit for the schools. So I was looking up about state funding that you get about between 51% to 61% of funding from the state. But lately, the state has been on the low side, something like 51% keeps coming to the schools. And that because of COVID, there was a $5 billion recovery fund that was given to schools. So the question being asked by Jeff Comfortville is, how does the LAUSD intend to fund its structural deficit? For the past few years, COVID-related revenues offset the deficit.
Okay, you guys bring in the questions here at Sherman Oaks Housing Authority. So school districts receive funds in a variety of different ways. Some, of course, federally, some from the state. We're funded in general based on enrollment and attendance. Right now, LAUSD is in a relatively good place funding-wise. So the structural deficit is we always have to look out multi-year, think about our current expenses. This includes our salaries, salary raises. This includes benefits, which, as you know, the cost of are growing, so that really adds to it. So when we project out, we always have to be mindful that costs are going to continue to go up. For salaries, for benefits, et cetera, and we need to be somewhat fiscally prudent to manage that. It means that when we get funds, for example, federal COVID relief dollars that are intended for a specific purpose, that we can't use those for any funds or any expenses not related to that we can't count on those funds to cover salaries and benefits, et cetera. And typically they're earmarked with a very specific purpose. For example, tutoring falls really well into that lane. The funds are intended to catch students up. Tutoring is a way to do it, therefore a viable expense. But if needed, right, we could phase out tutoring, right? We don't want to. We want to be able to provide that going on, but it's something we could phase out while still being, thoughtful about the bottom line. That's it in general. Our federal relief dollars are about to sunset, so we're already anticipating that. Our funding from the state does change, both how we're funded, the amount of funds we get, et cetera. I'll say the needs in LA Unified are great. In Region North, as you know, the entire San Fernando Valley, there's an incredible diversity of needs. So I'm always advocating for more funding for our schools because I see the needs each and every day. But overall, LA Unified is in a good spot, but we have to be vigilant and thoughtful about funding.
Are there any other questions? I do have a couple more here, but go ahead.
Two thoughts. One, as a retired 37-year veteran of LAUSD, with a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the system in all schools, teacher, straight through the system. The talk is, the district is trying to downplay our retirees' benefits and cancel some of the things that we thought we would keep for the rest of our lives. Just a general comment, not really looking for an answer. As one of thousands of retirees, we really don't want that happening.
Yeah.
The new people that are teaching right now, I would think that they don't want us losing benefits, because then the next hit is gonna be against the staff. I know we've got to do a lot of things for kids. I hear you, and I did it for 37 years.
Sure.
But we, as retirees and teachers and staff, clerical, certificated, classified, we really don't want our benefits cut. The money's got to come from some other place than our salaries.
So we're gonna, should I repeat? Actually, I was gonna ask your question next, because you did submit that question.
Yeah.
And
One other comment?
Yeah.
On next door, it's just something maybe you could look into. On next door, and I've seen it because I live right around the area, Sherman Oaks Charter Elementary School, not far from here. There's been a lot of general complaints about traffic and confusion with cars and the kids and safety. If there's anything you could do to maybe send somebody from operations out to take a look. I put some comments into next door about school police, LAPD, Valley Traffic, except the principal doing whatever they do, brochures out, hand them out to the cars that like we used to do many times.
Sure.
So I think Sherman Oaks Charter Elementary could use a look over to see about the traffic problem. And I know it's bad at most schools.
okay, so
Let's bring the next person up with a question and speak into the mic, so we can.
okay. So quickly, actually, we have two questions about benefits. One of them is from a retiree asking that are there possibilities that those benefits that they have might be reduced because of budget cuts. And the other one was somebody who said they felt that there may be dramatic changes in the healthcare benefits. In effect, that this would cancel any employee gains in salary if healthcare costs are increased for co-pays and family insurance. So they wanted to comment on that. So those are two questions.
Right. So for the gentleman who shared, first I'll say thank you for your service. The 37 years is incredible, and I recognize how much hard work it is over that period of time. For Sherman Oaks Elementary, we can take a look at what's going on there and see what can be done for traffic drop off, et cetera. In regards to the benefits thing, and I guess it relates to this question here. So there is a real concern about medical benefits and retiree benefits. This is cross sector, right? So it's not just education, it's government, all those hard-earned benefits. Because the costs are growing so exponentially, it becomes harder and harder for any organization to keep that on. LA Unified, one of the things we have across all of LA County, not just Los Angeles Unified Schools, but charter schools, neighboring districts, is declining enrollment, right? Our birth rates are dropping, et cetera. It's different. It means the funds we're taking in are fewer, and the funds we're paying out for benefits are also continuing to grow. Now, there are no plans that I am aware of to reduce or change benefits, either for existing employees or retirees, but recognize, again, that's a real concern shared across multiple sectors. But again, we recognize that any conversation of that nature or decision couldn't be taken lightly and would have to be taken with the utmost care. All right. Yeah.
Can you come up and use the mic?
I can speak loud. They can't hear you on the screen. Can't hear you on the screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I just wanted to ask about the idea of changing the structure of voting. Because there's 9 unions that vote for those health benefits. And what we heard is that you're gonna go to a 1-to-1 vote. the district and then one vote for all of them, which would make it very difficult for any of the 9 unions that are involved with the district to ever be able to have a say in health benefits. So how do we know, how did that come out?
So the question was, for anyone who didn't hear, about changing the way that our unions,
For our health benefits. Now we have 9 that all vote, and they all have a vote. Now they want to change it to one vote for the union, one vote with all unions, one, that's not gonna work.
so
To keep our benefits.
the member was asking about, the way our unions vote about health benefits. And right now there are 9. If it's changed to 1, that would drastically change that process. I'm not sidestepping the question. I actually don't know. I'm not aware of a change from 9 to 1, et cetera, and or how it would impact it. That's not something I'm directly involved with in my day-to-day, unfortunately. So I'm not.
It got sent to, a lot of us got sent to us through Paula,
Okay.
which,
Is our administrators union?
yeah.
So that would be the change and hence the concern. I will say, whether it's 9 or 1, I have not heard of any of our unions or bargaining partners who feel differently. I think they would be united whether they get 9 swings or 1, that our benefits really matter, both for current employees and retirees. That's my strong hunch. But again, this isn't something I have direct involvement with, so I don't want to. I don't want to speculate too much. All right. I know there was a question back here.
So, the No Child Left Behind program, great program, you know, it's a great idea. And trying to prep every student that we have with college, it's commendable. But the reality is that for multiple reasons, financial, lack of aptitude, whatever, no interest. There are percentage of students that are not going to go to college. They don't want to go to college, and taking away the programs that were there, the metal and wood, the electronic shop, I think it's a disservice to our society in general. And is there any thought of bringing those programs back into the school?
Yeah, so this is something that a question we hear quite a bit, and something folks are often surprised to hear. So number 1, we do have some really strong career technical education programs. So for example, at nearby Van Nuys High School, they actually do have an auto shop, an amazing auto shop program, and they partner, obviously, you know where we're at, with all of these car dealers literally right here down the street, and our students have valuable internships and often will leave, graduate, and begin high-paying positions.
That's what there is a much bigger percentage of students that are in the college that need that training, and that's great instructor than at the high school level. You know, for one school, it's great, but it's not enough.
Sure.
It needs to be spread across all high schools. And then one other thing, real quick, I'm not for or against the benefits. I'm an employee, but just because Ricky has an idea and a thought, at 2013, I was on the committee. It cost the district $43 million to provide inside Sherman health insurance to the employees. 2 to 3 years, we're doing $250 million. Right now, I don't even know what it is, but I'm sure it's probably $3 billion. So it is what it's meant to be, and it's a hard thing to fund. It's getting harder and harder. It's not that you guys don't want to do it. It's that you can't afford it. You know, that's the reality.
Yeah.
I mean, believe me, I'm someone that has employees, I don't want to lose my benefits. But
Of course.
you know, the new employees right now have less health benefits than the present people because they don't offer the same package for people coming in because it's unaffordable, not understandable.
Thank you. So remember, we're sharing sharing one example of a school with an automotive program. We need programs at every school, and agreed, we need those choices, right? We serve a variety of different student profiles. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. more programs to meet different interests, different students. I'll give one little plug. And that's for our community colleges. So I was at LA Valley College today, and our LA College Promise. You know, we have, so our students can attend community college for free. So it's something really unique to LA. So we do have a lot of different options for a lot of different students, and but yes, so some students are going to need different pathways, and we need it all over. I agree. We do have some good examples, and we could have even more for sure. The other thing that the member shared for anyone watching at home was that the cost of benefits is rising exponentially, and again, it's going to be something across multiple different sectors, right? Not just for education. That's going to continue to be a real concern for folks.
Who was unable to make it tonight?
Yeah, he's my boss.
Yeah, this is the regional superintendent of schools. So, Tom, do you have a question?
I do. Tom Glick, board member. Oh, yes. Well, they can't hear me, but I'll take the mic.
Hi, doctor, question for you. I think it was about a year ago, council changed the code to ban homeless within 500 feet of schools. I don't know if our council representatives here, but our council member did not vote for that. And she took some heat, and she should have taken some heat for it. I noticed in the LA Times the other day, this issue's come up at Virgil Elementary in Koreatown, where they are having problems with homeless within 500 feet of schools. So maybe it's a question you can't answer, but what's happening with that? Do you notice that being enforced? Sure. So when we notice a homeless encampment that's very close to a school, or when anyone does, right? So when somebody calls, they often will call my office, and we'll work with folks to address it. Obviously, at an elementary school, we're serving kiddos now from ages 4. So you know, safety is first. There can be you know, real concerns. So it's something that needs to be addressed. Our schools need to be safe places. And again, whether it's using the LAUSD app or just making a phone call, please let us know if that's the case in the San Fernando Valley schools, because we want to address it. We can, of course, do so thoughtfully, but it does need to be addressed because those are our students.
Well, I guess my second part of my question, or the primary part was, do you notice it being enforced? I mean, when you do have an issue and somebody calls it in, yeah, is LAPD there? Is it being enforced in the schools in the Valley?
Yeah, we've been able to see it enforced consistently, and we haven't come in to any significant obstacles to enforcing it. Now, you know, we all know the situation, something may be here and then it moves and then it needs to be moved again. Obviously that's the case, but we've had no obstacles to addressing and really no disagreement. You know, we of course folks want us to be really thoughtful and how things are approached, and we certainly understand that. But because it's a school, I think in general there's a consensus that it's a little bit different.
Thank you. Good.
So I guess this is a funding issue question as well. And it says here, with all the state changes, local school funding to school site funding, why did it take back large amounts of each school's funding at the end of the year of the school year without warning school sites in the spring?
The person who wrote the question must be referring to something really specific, but it's not. Oh, please.
Funding the schools, as you know, is around March. And the district sponsored a very large technology conference at Universal. And many of us were invited to go as teachers. And we had a lot of large companies, for example, Edpuzzle, Discovery. They were all there. And we assumed that these would continue to be funded by the district. We did not know that they were not going to be funded until August 4th, when we were told they would no longer be funded. My school for the gifted faculty uses Generation Genius. It's $10,000 a year to tell schools after our budgets are done that we are now going to fund all the things the district was paying for. They changed their mind. So we didn't know, we didn't have a chance in our budget to figure this out. They took money from us at the end, and we're not told in advance that you wouldn't have that, because I was at that conference. I was expecting to see price sheets from Brain Pop and Ed Puzzle and Discovery and Canva. I wanted to see price sheets so I could take back to my school if that was the case. But we were not told that. And now all the money, all the budgets are done, and then we were told after, just when we started, we get a notice that says, no, none of this is going to be funded. So I like the idea of e-roll classes. I like the idea of having extra things. I think that's great. Zoom tutoring. How do you do it without any kind of app programs that help us teach kids? So I was asking about this, but he's not from California, we are. And we know that we went through a large process, local school funding, local school, not local district funding, but local schools. So we were looking for that. And then we have a new superintendent who did inform us that they were not going to provide the apps, and then took it away and took our money away after we already made our budget decisions. That's why I asked that question.
Okay, so let me provide a little bit of background from my point of view and see what's helpful and what's not. So what the member is referring to are different educational programs, technology-based, that can be utilized. Naturally, during the pandemic, when we were virtual, we tried out all kinds of different programs, and some of them were used widely and some of them weren't. So there was a pretty late, and that part's definitely fair, analysis of both utilization of apps and perceptions around effectiveness, or whether or not effectiveness of apps that was done. Mainly utilization, however. Centrally, many of those were paid for, right? The apps were paid for centrally, and there was some good reason for that. Number one, there would be some cost savings just due to economy of scale, right? When you're buying larger, you can get them at a much more competitive rate. However, as we transition back to in-person, and even in person, our kids not just being at school, but there seemed to be an even greater, we've seen it both throughout the course of last year and even this year, of course, still using technology, but not as dependent upon technology. Some choices needed to be made about funding. So some of the most popular programs being used were funded centrally, and some were not. And when you have a favorite program that you've used and you say, I really value this, I see it working with students, it would now be on the school to pick up that funding if it was seen as a priority. So most schools do have some dollars, albeit limited, where they could purchase those technology-based programs. If everyone want to use it, it's always a priority. There's never enough for everything, but that was a late-breaking change that did happen from our central office. Yeah.
Are you Diane? Okay. Because I have several questions for you, and they're all tough to figure out how to ask. So I think. What's that?
Bring Diane up so because they can't hear her.
Well, Diane, do you want to add? I know that you have a few other questions. I don't know if they're specific that you want to talk.
Come up and talk.
Which? Okay, well, tell me which one, and I'll.
None of our Zoom people can hear you, so please come up. It's really unfair.
Very last minute.
Here, let me give you a mic.
What I asked you was, do you recognize that you have to tell us these things so that they can be handled? So telling us, oh yeah, we told you in August after the budgets were done, that we decided that you don't need those. We would have said, well, then why did you give us a conference and not give us price sheets for individual schools? That is what I expect you to do, so that I can go back to my school and say, all right, these are the prices, let's figure out what to do, rather than walk in and go, what? What's going on? What am I gonna do? No, that's the part. It wasn't whether you decided it was worth it or not. It's the process I'm learning about it. But I do have one really important question when I ask, and it isn't on there because it just happened. It has to do with behavior. Excuse me, it has to do with pillar wellness and joy. So the pillar, well, yes, pillar 2. So we have issues with students' behavior, especially in middle schools and high schools, as you know. So we have only one way to reach a parent. So if a child is not behaving properly, then we really only have one way, and that's our contact log that is in our MISIS program. And we put in the contact log what happened. We're limited to what we can say. We contact the parents. We've been told from our principals, you have to put it in the contact log. I personally do not like to do that. I think that's a prison pipeline. I know that these things can be hacked, and I don't like to take behavior of students in middle school that's crazy anyway and throw them in a system that says they did this and they did that. I don't think that's right for kids to have that. So I'm not the advocate for it. I don't usually write it. But we've been told we have to write in there for the principal to be able to talk to that parent. Now, this week, the behavior tab that says, why are you writing in here, is gone. It's not there anymore. There's no joy and wellness for behavior. So we contacted, many of us, IT. IT told one of my colleagues at another school, oh no, behavior was taken off by your principal. But the principal was standing next to her and said, no, that's not true. Well, it must be your local suit. And you're a local suit, right? They took it off. Then we were told you can no longer use behavior. That's probably not wellness and joy. I don't know. If you make the contact, I would never go in the contact log unless somebody lit a trash can on fire. I'm not going to go in the contact log because a child misbehaved in class, unless maybe they threw a chair across it. If they do that, then I'm going to put it in. But other than that, I have no way to ask parents to get their kids to behave at all. So why was behavior removed? We were told it was either by principals or people like you. And we were told that we're all putting too many in there. That's from IT. I don't trust IT to make these decisions. So I would like to know from you, why did behavior reason go out of the contact log?
Good luck.
Well, what an evening of surprises you have given me this evening. Well, I mean, so I'm aware in a fairly general sense of the MISIS contact log, not aware of any changes to a behavior tab. That's something I haven't heard of before, and or the reason behind it. So I recognize this breaking news feels important, and what I can offer is appreciation for the work you do, no bull, and also your thoughtfulness, right? So what you shared is your passion, but also you being really mindful about the work you do, the unintended consequences of something, and you wanting to be able to do a good job. I mean that with sincerity, and it still doesn't answer your question. I know that, but I don't know what it is or what I haven't heard of that being removed and or who made that decision. It's breaking. So stay tuned at home.
Look at the behavior tab.
Yeah, and you can,
You're welcome to email me. I'll give you my email on the way out, and I can have somebody get back to you about what this particular. What'd you say? No, it's okay. We're one here in the valley now. So, yeah, I'm happy to give you my information, we can get back to you and solve this mystery. We'll find out what's going on and what can be done. I'll give you my info on the way out. Okay.
Now we want to know if the behavior tab is gonna come back. So, okay, I will be here. So we want to thank you so much for stepping in and taking over this meeting. And we thank all of you for being with us. Next month, we're going to have Assembly Member Laura Friedman. So be with us next month, and thank you all for coming, and especially thank you for being with us.
Thanks, everybody. Hope to see you next month. Bye-bye.